Welcome to Texas Honda Channel. Hope everybody is having a blessed day. If you're new here, please consider subscribing and hitting that like button. So in today's video, I'm going to show you a must-have item for K-swap, whether it's rear-wheel drive or front-wheel drive. Doesn't really matter. This thing comes in handy. And then we'll go over some other details about the swap and things I got done. And here it is. It is a swivel thermostat housing that has a thermostat in it already and the little rubber seal around it. It's really awesome and must have because this is how they typically sit on your K20 when you get them. And that just doesn't give you much room for whenever you have it in a swap and you need it to face this way. Well, this allows you to turn it that way so you can put a radiator hose in without having to worry about it kinking up, especially if your swap involves having the hose that direction or this direction or that direction. This thing comes in handy. Now, this wasn't a lot of money. A lot of people probably think it was tons of money. The K-tuned one is like $200, but this one was less than $60 on eBay. I got it from Jackspania. Link is in the description. It's the same people I got the wiring harness from and a few other things. So I am definitely satisfied with their products and quality. It's definitely nice. So definitely click that link in the description. As for these spots right here, this one right here is where the temperature sensor would go. It just screws right in, but I plugged these up. And this one over here, it does not fit in, but the one that does fit here is a factory Honda cooling fan switch, so you could actually put one in there. It's really nice. I ended up getting a exhaust plug for O2 sensor. This is O2 sensor threads. It has the same exact thread pitch. And I'm just going to basically be plugging this port up, and it's going to be plugged off because I don't need to use either of these. I will be installing this, so let me show you where. So on my K-swap, back here is where the radiator hose inlet is. You can see that hole right there. That is where I'm going to be running this. You may have seen it already installed in a previous video to this one. This is where I'm choosing to run it, mostly because it's really close to the firewall. The thread pitch is the same, and I can just take my wire, plug it right in like that, and then I will have cooling temp on the factory gauges. But I'm not going to be using the sensor they provided, even though it is a nice sensor. I'll be using this Honda sensor right here, which is the temperature gauge sensor for a 1988 all the way to 2000 Civic D series or B series. This will tell the dash what temperature's on there. I'll be using this one instead of that one. It threads right in, so it'll be good to go. So that thing is a must, so that way I can get this swap to actually have temperature on the dash and the swivel neck, so that way I can put the radiator in and lower a hose on and we'd be good to go. Now I will have to make a custom pipe back there, probably loop it around to the radiator on this side so I can run the factory radiator in here because it is a monstrous radiator and it'll work great for this swap. Either that or I can loop it around, have an exhaust shop make a custom bend, and then that way I can run the hose out this way. But I think I want to go back that way with it and over because it's more of a direct line and it'll be a little bit easier. But yeah, now that we got all of that out of the way, I will be taking the intake manifold off so I can put the swivel neck on. It's just easier for you to see what I'm doing down there. If you didn't notice, I got my B18 throttle body. It's a 70 mil. I capped it off right here, and it has the lower coolant hose that runs straight through it, but I don't run those like I said in a previous video. I got the TPS wired in along with the map sensor. I basically just extended the wires for the map sensor and made a custom little slim harness for it. I also extended the air intake temperature sensor right here, just 2 wires, extended it out, soldered all the connections. And on this one right here, I'll put on screen the wire combination that you'll need to run the connector for a B series or a D series throttle, and the wiring will run just like this. So that way you can actually wire it up, because there's not a lot of info out there on how to do it. There is some, but not a lot. So I figured I'd help you guys with that. But we'll go ahead and remove this intake manifold, move it out of the way so you guys can see what I'm doing, and we'll install the swivel neck. Okay, so behind the alternator down here, that is where the swivel will go. It'll go something like this. And we can swivel that piece around any direction we need it. So I'm going to go ahead and bolt this in and then we will try to swivel it and see which way we need it. We'll put the radiator in and the lower hose to see how far the swivel needs to be. So I'll go ahead and do that. Okay, well, before I tighten it all the way down, I need to get the radiator, the factory radiator in, see where the hose sits, get it to where it needs to be. Then I can go ahead and tighten it, and everything will be good. So I'll go ahead and get the radiator in, and we'll see where we're at. All right, that's where it needs to be. So I'm going to go ahead and tighten this down. Alright, so that's the direction it needs to be, which is really good. So now I can show you the rest. Okay, so with the radiator and fan shroud installed, you can see there's an electric fan. It's a pretty big one. It's starting to take shape for sure. Now we still need the radiator hose to go from right here, is to get a hose to go here all the way over to that side and loop around. This is the coolant overflow tank that I had in my EF, so I figured I'd use that. It fits in here like perfectly. And this piece right here, which is off of a Toyota Yaris, I got this idea from my buddy Matt, so a huge shout out to Matt. Super genius idea. This is really cheap, by the way. I'm gonna go with a hose here, and it goes right into the inlet here, and then when it overflows, there's actually another exit right here, so I can put a little hose on that and run it out of the way so it's not dripping on the tire, and get a radiator cap and get the rest of the line ran. Still have to put the oil feed and oil drain line on here, so that'll be pretty simple. Definitely making some progress for sure. Now this is the power steering pump reservoir. I have the lines ran into it, so when I turn the power steering, the fluid will go in there. It actually isn't too hard to turn, believe it or not, but we will definitely figure out power steering later on down the road, or just loop the rack itself, because this is a pretty light truck. It's not very heavy, and usually whenever I go drifting and having fun, I don't really care for power steering too much, but to each their own. But you can see down there, radiator hose is on, and making huge progress. I still have to put a bolt in there, but it's bolted on pretty much, and we've got the fuel injectors ran, got fuel pressure. Clutch slave cylinder will be adjusted soon because it is working, but it's not very good. We're gonna go -3 AN fittings on this side, and on the clutch master cylinder, we're gonna do a custom little insert, and then I can run a steel line because this plastic line is just not gonna cut it. But we're so close to starting it. I still need a K-Pro or at least an immobilizer bypass, but I don't want to spend $200 for an immobilizer bypass just so that I can get K-Pro later on, and that has an immobilizer bypass button you can click in the settings. It'll be a waste of money, and I don't have money to waste, so we're just gonna have to save up for the K-Pro. But definitely making progress. I am super happy, and this thing is totally taking shape, and I never expected it to look this good. It looks really great under the hood. We still have some work to do for sure, but yeah, I just want to get you guys this video, show you some more on the K-swap, and let you know that things are going pretty decent. Right now, the only thing we're limited on is funds, so just keep sharing the videos around, hitting the like button, and dropping comments, because it's helping tremendously. You guys are awesome, and this is because of you that I'm able to do this. So keep up the great work, and that's basically it for this video. I'm gonna go ahead and get off here. I will see you guys in the next video, and as I like to say, God bless, stay safe, stay awesome.